Museums today in the 21st century have transformed. They are no more just walls with paintings or art hanging like still life. Museums today all over the world have become vibrant, interactive spaces across generations. Museums are attracting the performing arts, painting, sculpture, talks, thoughts, ideas, philosophy. Across generations, I've seen in my many travels grandparents bringing their grandchildren to museums, where there are areas where they can watch, they can listen, they can also participate. So a museum of performing arts becomes ever so vital for a country like ours and for a city like mine. This is a city that prides itself as being the center of Indian culture. It somehow has got the tag of being the crucible of all that is historic, that is continuous, that is traditional, that has a synergy of temples and music and dance and painting and sculpture. So why not a museum dedicated to the performing arts? The performing arts are particularly vulnerable because they live in the moment. Theatre, dance and music can be experienced only in the live alchemy of a performer in motion, in the flow of creativity, and an audience as a rasika sitting there in enjoyment. But in today's technologically driven generation, in the Insta generation as we call it, we are experiencing culture in sound bites in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But dance, music and theatre needs to be experienced live. We need to also know a historical timeline. Who are the great artists who have plowed through so much resistance and trials and challenges, sometimes heartbreak and despair, to give us an unbroken legacy? Who are these great creators? Who are the great minds in music and writing and literature and performance? Do we know our history? One of the things that has always enthused me, especially in my travels in Europe, is the number of young people in universities who are studying history and architecture and archaeology with the specific idea of becoming tour guides. Young people in their 20s want to enroll and pass the tourism guide exam because of the huge demand for articulate tour guides in their particular area, in multiple languages, but also I sense a great pride in their own city and their country's culture. Let us not forget, India is the world's oldest continuing uninterrupted civilization. In spite of all the many interruptions and invasions, we have continued historically, and we have such an enormous legacy and such a rich and complex inheritance of the performing arts. A museum for the performing arts is vital, it's crucial, the time is now. What can we expect from a museum of the performing arts? Yes, of course, I hope there will be images of great artists, but I hope there will be interactive material in small, accessible, digestible, and in today's narrow bandwidth, attention span deficit generation, that they can know of artists like the Tanjore Quartet or the four brothers, the Tanjore Nalavar, the people who were the architects of modern Carnatic music and modern Bharatanatyam. When we think of the word museum, most of us in India think of dimly lit, difficult to access spaces, mostly cobwebs around paintings or sculptures, and something that's not really friendly for most people. Well, the Museum of Performing Arts hopes to become a dynamic, vibrant, living space, a space that we can enter not just to learn about the past, but to also participate and create our own present history that is continuous. It's very important. just imagine, everyday life in India is like a museum in progress. From the way we take our rice powder and draw our columns, sometimes in the traditional jewelry, even the shapes of the vessels that we use. And in the performing arts, there is such a synergy of so many aspects of Indian life and the figurative arts that a museum like this will be able to bring so many strands of the arts together. And so I don't want you to think of a museum as being something dusty and something that only some foreigner will go and visit, or some place we take somebody who's visiting from out of town. I hope it is so participatory that we ourselves as the citizens of this city, of this lovely city, will actually take pride in it and participate in it and infuse this new space with our own alchemy and our own energy and our own positivity.